Hey guys, how are you? So this week we're going to be working on a little bunny rabbit. We're getting more into spring now and getting kind of close to Easter, and I just thought it would be something kind of fun to do. So we have, here I'll show you, this is our little bunny. Actually, you probably just saw it in the intro, but here's our little bunny. And you know, he's actually really pretty easy. We are going to start with your pencils just to kind of sketch him in. And then we're going to use chalk pastels to color him and finish it off. One alteration that I have from the original, the original video that I did with you guys, is that this part right here, you might want to leave this part not colored in brown, and maybe down here, until after you get the grass in. And then go in between the little blades of grass and fill in any brown that you need to fill in. It's up to you, but you know, after I did this, I thought that maybe that would have been a better idea, but either way is fine. So anyway, that's the only alteration that I have to the video. I hope that you guys have fun with this assignment, and yeah, go get your supplies, your pencil, your eraser, chalk pastel, also get some tissues for blending, okay? And have fun, and I can't wait to see how they turn out, okay? Okay guys, so this is our bunny. We're gonna start by drawing just an outline with our pencil, and then we'll go in and color the rest of him in with our chalk pastel. Okay, so I'm doing things a little bit different this time. I've actually started to sketch this out. I don't want you to copy this yet because I want us to do this in a certain order, but I broke it down so that I could explain it to you the easiest way possible. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make all of these lines as light as you can. Start by making your guidelines, okay? In the very center of your page, this way, we're gonna make an up and down line and try to make it as straight as possible so that it cuts your page right in half, okay? Then we're gonna do the same thing going this way, and again, make these real light because we are going to erase them later, okay? So you should have two lines that cut your page in half, one that cuts it right here and one here, okay? Now from there, let me zoom in just a little tiny bit. Okay, so now from there, what I want you to do, this is your center point. I want you to make a line about a ½ inch above it, right here. I'm gonna make mine a little darker just so you can see. Okay, but you guys still make yours light. This line is maybe an inch, maybe an inch and a half long, a ½ inch, then a ½ inch or something like that. But it's equal distant on both sides of that line, okay? Then we're gonna do a slightly diagonal line that goes down to your guideline on this side. And over here, we're just gonna go straight down, okay? Okay, I just remembered. We're gonna go over in this bottom left-hand rectangle that we have, we're gonna put up two more guidelines. One in the center going this way, and one left and right going this way, just like we did before, okay? Because the very center of this bottom left rectangle is gonna be the bottom of our bunny, basically where his little tail is gonna be, okay? So now that we've set this up, this is kind of his neck. This is the front of his body. This is the back of his neck. We're gonna take this now and we're gonna curve it, I don't know, maybe two in here. Let's see if this is maybe 2½ inches down, or actually just to your guideline. Is it? Yeah, that's a good marker, the guideline that we have right there. So you curve this straight down and curve to where your guideline is, okay? And then this is just gonna be straight. And then we're gonna take this and we're gonna curve up, but we're gonna go a little bit above this line. So kind of like that, curve up and then swing back down around, okay? Now I know that doesn't quite look like a bunny yet. That's why I said to do it lightly, and we're gonna erase and kind of modify this as we go along, okay? But that's basically the shape of his body. Now for his head, we're gonna come up here and we're gonna do a curved line that's about 1 inch, something like that. And then we're gonna come over here and come out and around and back up. And that's gonna be his head. Okay, so you can pause this if you need to here to make sure that yours looks like this. And again, very lightly, don't draw too dark, okay? If you're ready to go on, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put an ear in over here, about right here. We're gonna start, we're gonna go up and around and come in right there. This one here is gonna go up and around like that. And we can erase these lines out of here too. Okay. And then his eye is gonna be just about on this line, or it's gonna come right to it anyway. It's gonna be kind of curved over here and come to a little bit of a point and then come back around. And inside of there, we're just gonna have a big circle, kind of like that. Okay, you don't have to color it in, but you can if you want to. And over here, we're gonna give him a little triangle nose. It's gonna go kind of like that. And then a little line that goes down. And his mouth actually comes out like that. It looks like it's a little bit of a sad face, but it's really not. And after we color it in, he'll be fine. Okay, so that is basically it for our rabbit. Because my lines are very dark, I'm gonna erase this line. In fact, you guys can erase that line too if you want. You can erase all of your guidelines. And our guidelines, when we use them, guys, are really just for placement. It's to make sure that our objects are at the right place on the page. So after we get our objects placed, then we don't need them anymore. And sometimes you can just kind of guess with your eyes where things are supposed to go, but sometimes it's a little tricky, and it's better if we just measure it out and do guidelines. So that's what we did today. Okay, so we've got that. Now, I'm gonna do the inside of this little guy's ear. Okay, we're gonna start right in the center of these two spots right here, and we're gonna go up and around. We're gonna get closer and closer to that other line until we get about right there, and it joins that other line. Okay, kind of like that. And then we're gonna come back down here. I'm gonna start at a point and then get a little bit further away, like that. So this thicker, or this thin part out here is gonna be like the brown furry part of his ear, and then this will be the pink part inside, okay? And then this one here, we only see the back, but the light is shining through it, so it gives it a little bit of a pink hue, but that's nothing that we need to really color right now, okay? So really that's about it. We are ready to get our pastels. I'm going to get every single green that I can. And a couple of yellows. What else? Oh, a nice salmon-y. You know, I like both of these salmon pink colors. I used both of these, I think, yesterday. And then, let me see. Oh, my browns. You know what? I'm gonna just use all of my browns. I'm just gonna leave them there though for right now. Okay, so I have greens and yellows, a couple of peachy colors, and our browns. Now I wanna start with our lightest, so we're gonna need a little bit of white. A little bit of white. there's going to be some flowers in here, guys. And I know that this white isn't going to really show up, but I want to put it down first just so that we remember, mostly, that we don't forget that these little flowers are here. These are little clover flowers. We're just going to make little white ovals, okay? And the ones that are near him are actually going to be smaller because they're further away. And then as we get closer to, like, the front up here, I guess it's the bottom of your paper, which is closer to us, they're going to be really big. I don't know if you guys can see that there. That. Okay. And then we can have other ones, or just around, just like little blotches. They're going to get smaller and smaller as they go back. Maybe I'll just do one here coming off the page a little bit. One over here. Okay, the placement of those doesn't really matter. I did put a couple that were inside of his body though, because I want him to be sitting in them. And so that's going to have that little stem underneath of it to show that it's, that he's sitting within the clover flowers, okay? Okay, the next thing I want to do is put down a tiny bit of, actually a little bit of yellow. Now make sure that your pastels are clean. See, mine have a little bit of dirt on them, and I am probably, well, I'm just gonna not use that side, but if yours are dirty, take a paper towel and just kind of wipe them off to get some of that dust off, okay? So you don't end up putting the wrong color down. We're gonna make a line about, I don't know, maybe a third of the way down, and just put some yellow on the paper. Just like that. I'm trying to start out with some of my lighter colors first. So then I'm going to take this green. I'm going to go over top of my yellow. Right now I'm not going to worry about filling in all of the white spots, or you know, the paper, the blank paper, because I'm going to spread this out in a little bit with my tissue. And that will blend it all in. So I'm just going to kind of just get some color on the paper. I'm just kind of going around my little circles. And to be honest, we can take this up on this top part too. And then I'm going to take my dark green and put some of that up here too. This is only going to go on the top part though for right now. Like that. Right now. Now I'm going to get tissue. I have my tissues here. You can use a napkin or a paper towel, but tissues work. And I'm going to start where my yellow is. I'm going to start with my lightest areas, and I'm going to push all of this into the paper. Okay. You're going to have a lot of dust when you're done, but that's okay. And I'm going to try to just kind of gently go around those little white circles that we made. Does not have to be perfect. We're just kind of showing that there's something in the grass. And we're using this tissue to, like I said, to spread out the green into all of the paper, but also to kind of blend in a little bit with this white area where our flowers are. If you get some on the bunny, that's totally fine. Okay, And now we're going to go up to this darker area. We're going to work in circles. And just try to get this into the paper. Try to work around your bunny if you can. I just want it to be really soft and hazy. What this is that our background is out of focus. So it's just kind of blurry and hazy. So we really are just kind of seeing color and different shades of color. The only thing that's in really sharp focus is our bunny and the little bit of grass that's right next to him, and the couple flowers that are right next to him. Okay, so that's what we have right now. While I still have some of this dark dust on my paper and also on my tissue, I'm going to bring some of that down over here on this right side. Okay. For right now, I'm just going to leave that, and we're going to go on to our bunny. Now, guys, my guidelines are really dark because I made them dark so you could see them. I'm hoping that yours are lighter. I'm going to actually start with some pink. The sun is coming up like over here. The sun is about where my hand is. It's early in the morning, and the sun is going right across this grass and onto this bunny. And so it's leaving this really warm kind of highlight on him. So I'm going to put just a little bit of this in here, just right like on his left side. I put a couple little strokes in here, little diagonal strokes, like along his back. Okay, if you want, you could put a tiny bit inside of his ear. And now I'm going to take my lighter pink. That was a darker pink. I'm going to take a lighter pink and put some of that inside of his ear as well. I'm also going to put a tiny bit on this other ear, on the left side of this other ear. Okay, and now I'm going to take, let's see, these are all my browns over here. I'm going to take this one here that's a little bit more of a grayish brown. Really, it doesn't matter very much. Just take one of your browns and basically fill your guy in. Now remember, I had a couple of clovers, so I'm going to try to kind of go around them like that. And over here where I have the pink, we're just going to make some strokes. Okay. But over here, we'll go ahead and just kind of lightly fill it in. I'm not going to do his nose yet, just because I want it to stand out. Actually, his nose or his eye. But I'm going to do all the rest of this. Actually, I'm not going to do his ears yet either. They probably are going to be this color, but I'm just not ready to do them yet. Okay, so now I'm going to take my tissue again, and you can, you know what, you can either use the same one that you just used or take a different one. I might save the one that I just used because I'm going to use it a little bit more for some other grass later. So maybe I'll have a green tissue and a brown tissue. And I'm just going to just take an edge of it and just kind of press this into the paper. And you're going to have dust everywhere, guys. Chalk pastel is very messy. I'm sorry about that. I would recommend that if you want to get rid of it, don't wipe it, first of all. And if you are going to just blow it or shake it, go to your trash can or go outside. If it's a nice day, go outside and shake it off outside. But definitely don't go like that because you'll just smear all of that dust. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some different tones, different colors into him. I'm going to take a different color brown, and I'm going to use little strokes. Okay, and I'm going to do this over his whole body, but I'm going to go in the direction that his hair would grow. Okay, so like over here, it's kind of diagonal. Over here, it's kind of diagonal too. And his face is going to be more like this. And then up his nose like that. Kind of like that around his face. And then the rest of it just comes in like this. Now I'm using a point or a corner right now to make these fine lines. You know, if you want to use more of an edge to get a bigger space, that's probably fine too. Now I'm going to go back in with a different color and just kind of keep doing the same thing to give him different variations of color. We're going to do maybe one more color, and then we'll start putting in some highlights and some shadows. And actually, you know what? I think I am ready to do his ears now. So I'm going to take my best corner and just do your best to go up and around to about there, and then start up again like that. Actually, if you want to, you can outline the whole thing. Then this side is going to go up like that. And it's just going to be like half of his ear. Just kind of like that. Okay. Yeah, this one's a little bit more yellowy. So I used kind of a gray one, kind of a reddish brown, and this one's a little bit more yellowy. So this is definitely going to be my last coat of brown. So I kind of want to fill in the majority of these little spaces. Or at least don't have any big spaces that are open. Up here on his face again. Up around his eye. Okay, I'm actually happy with that right now. Now I'm going to take my black or like my darkest gray, whichever works best for you, and I'm going to put in some shadows. Now remember, the sun's coming this way, so the shadows are going to be more on this side of his body. And I'm basically just making those little dashes still. So I put some along this left side. I put some over here, like his leg is kind of tucked up in over here. So I put some like by his leg, where his leg would be. And this leg would probably be over in here somewhere. Something like that. And maybe some strokes here underneath his little chin. And then over here on his ear, I'm gonna make a really dark shadow at the very back of his ear and where his ear connects to his head. Put some more shadow in there. And over here on the very edge as well. And then he has some little dots that kind of are going up his nose. I'm not really sure what type of bunny this is, but in the picture that I saw, this type had little dots going up his nose. I'll give him a little bit of color there. Maybe a little shadow over here. Or something like that, okay? And now guys, I don't want you to blend heavy, but if you want to blend a little bit, or maybe even just dab, you can, but I want you to not over blend this at all, okay? I think just dabbing is the most that you should do, and if you don't want to do that, don't bother, it's okay. I'm gonna try a different black for a second here. Let me see if this one works. Okay, I want his eye to be as dark as I can get it. So whatever you have that works, go ahead and use it. And we can also kind of outline that kind of like a sideways teardrop shape. We can kind of outline that too with this darker color. And then we can get his little triangle nose and that little mouth. Remember, he had that little mouth coming down like that. Now he has whiskers, but we're not going to get to those yet. We're going to do those last. While I'm at it, I'm going to add a little tiny bit of shading in here, like around the edges of his ear. Maybe a little bit on this guy here too, up like that, okay? I'm gonna take a little bit of white. This is gonna be my last thing. And I'm gonna put some highlights in here. I'm gonna go over my pink. More like on the left side of his head. And throw some of that in. But also, I happen to know from the picture that he did have some white on him. I think like underneath his little chin, kind of like down here. He had some white. Maybe there was a little bit like up in here. I don't know. If there are any spots where you feel like he needs a little bit of white, feel free to add some. I just generally think the more colors, the more realistic it looks. So I like to throw in some extra color. Okay, so there we are. Now we're gonna go in with our grass again. Actually, if you guys want to shake off some dust, right now would be a good time to do it. I actually think I'm gonna pause this and go shake off some of my dust, and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, so now there's my bunny, and now we're basically gonna add in some more grass. I'm gonna take my darker green again and get some grass strokes in here to cover up this bottom part of our bunny. So I'm going to cover him up just a little bit, and then we're also going to go around him, like a little bit in front and a little bit in back. And we're going to try to leave those white flowers showing if we can. say something basically like that for right now. Now over here, I think this is like some like bushes or some really tall grass maybe that hasn't been mowed yet. So I'm gonna do some great big kind of tall strokes over here. Maybe some shorter ones back there. And I'm gonna do a little bit more of on the side again, of just sort of like half circles to make it look like there's some kind of trees or shrubs or something back in there. Okay, now I'm going to take my light green again, and I'm going to start up here by his neck, and I'm just going to do some little strokes, horizontal strokes. I'm not going to fill the whole thing because I want it to be a little bit blotchy. Remember, the sun is coming in, and there's probably something shading the sun, a tree branch or, you know, leaves, something to make it a little bit dappled. So I'm just going to do some strokes, but I'm using the flat, you know, this wide part. I'm not using a corner right now. I'm using this kind of flat edge right here. I'm just kind of going back and forth to make these strokes. And then when we get closer to our bunny again, I'm going to use the corner and get some actual strokes in there. Sometimes you have to press a little bit harder. Like when I'm going over top of the bunny, I'm using more pressure than I would out like here. If you want your lines to be really soft and delicate, you use smaller strokes and less pressure. And if you want them to be darker, you do longer strokes and more pressure. Okay. I'm going to do some smudges up in here because this part's out of focus again already. Okay, remember our camera is only focused right around our bunny. You can also take it on its side to kind of blend in the bottom of those grass strokes a little bit. See how like right here, they're just kind of sticking out of the ground. You can go kind of around them like that underneath to kind of tie them in like that. Okay, put a few strokes over here maybe, and maybe a couple pieces of longer grass with this color. Something like that. Okay, now I'm going to just throw in a couple browns. Actually didn't want something too red. That's a little redder than I thought it would be. Maybe just a few strokes of this. We can definitely use it on its side, very lightly, to kind of get some shadows over in here, and especially where these two colors meet. You can have like a little shadow area right there and over here. Kind of like that. Okay. And then from here on out, I mean, he's basically done. You can play around for as long as you want. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in over here where it's supposed to be really sunny. Yellow just warms it up. Makes it feel like the sun's coming right in. Maybe I want to do some yellow grass strokes in here. Something like that. You know what? Just to tie it in, I'm going to use a little bit of this pink too. The pink that we used on our bunny. I try to make my drawings kind of realistic, but also it's fun to just play around with color. Just makes it a little bit fun. Okay, and now I'm going to take my little blendy thing again. I'm going to blend very, very, very lightly, okay? I'm not going to touch this grass very much at all, but just over here, just to kind of soften the edges, I'm going to dab on it. Now, my white spaces, I think, are a little bit big, and some are like, especially back in here. So if you want to, you know, make those a little bit smaller, you can kind of dab on top of them a little bit, or, you know, to give them a little bit of definition too, because they should have probably some shadows in them. Now over here, I might blend the bottoms just a little bit. I don't know. And then I can take that dust and dab it into my white spaces. Something like that. I'm going to blend this a little bit. Up here, I'm going to definitely work in circular kind of motions, or like half circles. I don't know. Just keep playing with it, guys, until you like it. I basically go back and forth between making lines and then blending them in a little bit, making a couple more lines, blending them in a little bit, and I just keep working at it until I'm happy with it. So I'm just about happy with it. If you guys are happy, you can turn this off right now. You know what, maybe I should add a little bit of blue back in there, or black. If you want to, on the bottoms of some of these, you can put like a little bit of green, like where the little stems or little leaves would be. Something like that. Anyway, I think he's about done. Like I said, you guys can keep on playing, or you can be done now. If I were to keep on playing, I would just keep doing what I've already done. I would just layer on more colors and just keep doing it. But I think he looks pretty decent. I think he's kind of cute. So, so I hope that you guys had fun with this. And if you have have any questions or need any help, you guys know how to get a hold of me. But I hope that you enjoy this and you have fun with it. And I will see you guys next week, okay? Okay, take care. Bye.